Hello everybody, Terry Carl Joyedian here, and we made it. It is Law 46, the last law of Dave Asprey's Game Changers, which of course is on gratitude. Since it's so important to Dave, he wants to go out with a bang. This one is use the tools of gratitude, and it's basically a bunch of tools. He interviews a couple of experts as usual, Ujjayi Ram Dass and Tony Robbins, that I'll be focusing on today. So I'm going to go through a couple of practices that he shares from them, and then also practices that he leaves as tips. So Ujjayi Ram Dass talks about asking yourself 3 questions every morning, and he says he used to do it in the evening, but he found it was much more powerful in the morning. It's even better to do both, but if you're gonna pick one or the other, he suggests the morning. What am I grateful for? That's the first question. The second question is, what can I do to make today great? That's anything that's gonna make you feel like you had a great day. Doesn't have to be achievement based, just makes you feel like you're gonna feel great, feel good, feel happy. And what kind of person do I want to be today? 3 questions. They talk a little bit about how anticipation is powerful and how important it is to write your gratitudes down. I would say if you're starting the practice, just start by practicing being grateful, maybe asking yourself these questions. If you're sometimes resistant to writing things down, ease into it. I know for me sometimes that can get me stuck, but I know how powerful writing things down can be and putting it out there. And at the end of the day, write 3 good things that happened to you that day. And if you want to push yourself to the next level to keep growing, you can also ask yourself at the end of the day, what is one thing I could have done to make today better? So I like these questions. I actually took a picture of these parts of the book so I can refer back, but I'll definitely be referring back to this video. I hope you will as well. And then he talks about Tony Robbins, who has a 10-minute practice that sometimes he says turns into 15 to 20 minutes since he enjoys it so much. He starts with 3 minutes, put on 3 things that he is grateful for, and he actually puts himself into it. So he says if he's feeling grateful for a roller coaster ride, he actually puts himself into the experience like he's in the movie, lives it out as part of that 3 minutes. Then he does a 3-minute blessing where he images energy or God coming into his body and healing every single part, down to the smallest cell, every muscle, tendon, whatever, getting healed. And then he also sees that energy strengthening his passion, love, generosity, creativity, and humor. He spends 3 minutes on that, so that's 3 plus 3 is 6. And then he visualizes a problem being solved. Current problem, he visualizes it being solved. And finally, he creates there's a couple more. And then he does a circle of energy around himself, his family, then his friends, then his clients, seeing a best possible outcome for everybody living happy, fulfilling lives. And then finally, 3 minutes on outcomes that matter. He sees them as already done. So there are 3 outcomes that he really wants to put his attention on, and he doesn't see them in the problem state. He sees them already solved, already completed. So if that seems like a lot, you can pick any of these tools that Dave suggests. So here they are. First is a gratitude journal. It could be as simple as 3 things, either in the morning or the evening. Again, morning is recommended. If you do both, that's great. 3 things you're grateful for. Ideally, things that apply to the day, particularly if you're doing it in the evening. There are apps. I just downloaded one. I'm a little iffy on using an app for gratitude because I already feel like I spend too much time on my phone. But it's there if you're an app person. Second tool is practicing mindfulness, pretty powerful. Just really being in the present, really feeling, really hearing, sensing, tasting, which ties into another one that he shares, which is walking, a gratitude walk, noticing the beauty, feeling each step, So this is something you can do anytime during the day. If you want to make it into a gratitude walk practice, you can do that. Practice mindfulness. Another version of the gratitude journal is a gratitude jar. If you'd like to see your gratitudes, you could have a jar with little slips of paper, write your gratitudes, throw it in. He also suggests, as another option, rethinking a negative situation, which was mentioned in a previous law. And he mentioned a story that I've heard a few times now, and I love it every time I hear it. And it's of a farmer, it's a parable, and the farmer loses his horse, and his fellow townspeople are like, oh, that's too bad. And he's like, maybe. And the next day, the horse comes back with some wild horses. And they're like, oh, this is wonderful. And he says, maybe. And then one of the horses ends up breaking his son's arm. And the villagers are like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. And the farmer's like, maybe, right? And then the next day, the army comes through picking up recruits, and they don't take the old man's son, the farmer's son, because of the broken arm. And they say, how fortunate. And he says, maybe. So it's really like you can just keep going with this, right? It depends on how you want to look at it. And that's really how life is. We're, again, the ones who put the judgment on each situation, whether it's positive or negative. So he says, if you have an experience that you really feel hurt in, to feel that emotion, don't shove it down, feel that negative emotion, and then also see if you can look for the silver lining in the situation, whether there was something just good that came out of it, or whether it made you the person you are today, just something, and then see if you can release that negativity that you've been holding on to. Pretty neat. You can practice gratitude with loved ones, like at the dinner table. Dave suggests that you have some regulations with it, but again, start wherever you need to. You can say that they can't repeat something someone else said. It has to be related to the day. It has to be new for themselves. So you can have some fun with that. Brian and I have done mask and meditation where we actually focus on gratitude and we go back and forth. So that's pretty neat. You can write a thank you note. That's gratitude right there, right? And you're sharing it with somebody else. So there's that little element of community and connectedness. And you can combine gratitude with forgiveness, which I think is tied to what I just shared with rethinking a negative situation. Oh, I forgot one. And you can appreciate actively throughout the day, anytime. Just look for opportunities to be grateful. You may not even think about it. You could use a trigger, like anytime I walk through a doorway, I'm going to think of something I'm grateful for. That would be helpful to do it. But if you're like, oh, wait a minute, gratitude practice, right in that moment, you could think of something you're grateful for. There are lots of options. Dave suggests, I think he suggests thinking about 3, but you could start with 1. And if you want to build a habit, make it small, make it easy, make it attractive, and start applying it every day. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. Again, please check out the other laws in this playlist if you haven't already. And there'll be a new, I think we might have some tidbits coming up, or we'll hopefully soon be starting a new book. We'll see. But this has been a wonderful, long journey, and thank you again for taking it with me. I know I'm going to be referring back to some of these, and I hope you find some good ones for you as well. And please comment on this or any of the videos on anything you found helpful, anything that you've practiced, anything you'd like to share. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Much love and many blessings to you all.